An important part of the mission of the IEEE EMBS is to advance the application of engineering sciences and technology in medicine and biology. Conferences and publications, as well as standards development, play an important role in shaping the technologies for the benefit of mankind.
You never know from one day to another what the next trend is going to be. A few years back we went into microtechnology, which was at that time the smallest thing available. Now it's become nanotechnology. But as you see in computers, everything becomes smaller and smaller. This is very important for medicine because if you look at the body at the cellular level, you need to have very small devices to deal with it. So I would predict in the next 10 years or so this area will be very important for healthcare, both for diagnosis and for treatment.
The Emerging Technology Committee within EMBS is relatively new. And so the reason we formed this, I think EMBS has done an outstanding job to welcome all new technologies. And the recent fast, rapid development in many areas, in particular photonics, biophotonics, etc., I think is less represented within the society. Our goal is to identify those emerging technology, bring it to the awareness of the society.
I have launched a new journal, Transactions of the IEEE on Nanobioscience. This journal deals with technological and scientific issues at the subcellular and molecular level. Basically, nanofabrication, that means building up constructs, designing them at one molecule level.
The neuroengineering field is important because it represents, number one, a very rapid and scientific development in this field. Number two, it started entering into clinical applications.
Signal processing is at the core of the imaging technology that is now widely used for diagnosis and for treatment, such as CAT scans, MRIs, and ultrasound.
Paul Lauterbur, in my opinion, is one of the most important figure of the 20th century. I would put him in the level of Einstein and other key figures. He not only pursues scientific truth relentlessly, he really wants his work have societal impact. And as it does, now we have 20 million MRI scans per year globally. That's tremendous impact, and that's really amazing technology. Personally, having the experience work with him, being a student, postdoctoral student, and later on work with him as a colleague, really helped me shape my scientific philosophy, seeing the connection of your research work, your scientific work, and to the society.
The basic principles that is possible to translate intention in brain signals to commands for computers and robotic devices has been accomplished. The fundamental concept is to translate intention of movement and send that information directly to robots. So, for instance, paraplegics have lost control of their limbs, but they normally have intact brains. So the concept is really to tap into the brain signals and extract from them the intention of movement, and then send it directly to robotic devices. You have to insert electrodes in motor cortex. It's a part of the brain that controls movement. And then you have to amplify those signals. You have to translate the signals with signal processing methodologies to extract features that describe exactly the modulations in brain signals, and then they are translated into by adaptive systems into locations in XYZ space that the robot will follow.
Researchers are pushing the boundaries in developing technologies to monitor and treat our bodies. Wearable systems make that possible.
It's an area that has started the last 10 years, 10, 15 years. But it gained a lot of momentum only the last 5 years because of the development of microtechnologies and possibility to miniaturize all the sensors and to make systems that you can wear in a very comfortable and invisible way and have some physiological parameters like heart rate, like temperature, like oxygen saturation to be monitored. But also, in addition to physiological parameters, it is possible to measure movement, posture, mental parameters, cognitive parameters, and biochemical parameters. Like from sweat, for example, we can measure different kinds of ions, glucose, lactate, proteins, etc., in order to assess the health status of the person. From the moment you have all these systems that can measure your personal data, your personal parameters, and as these systems have to be communicative, so to communicate this information to a health center or to a medical doctor, to a professional, then you have privacy issues and you have to protect this personal data. It's a very, very important issue. For the moment, in the research programs here, around the world, this issue is protected by transmitting anonymously the data. So by coding data and transmit to a server or to an information system without putting the name of the person.
Informatics is all about computing and data collection, maintenance, and retrieval.
Informatics is tremendously important. It has multiple scales to it. There's everything from the bioinformatics that one thinks of as related to the genome project, perhaps a little more theoretical, but bringing biology into a realm where immense amount of information is available. At the other end of the scale is the healthcare informatics, the ability to keep track of information for individual patients, on wide scale, even national scale, to be able to make treatment more rational, to be able to coordinate drug trials, to be able to have earlier detection of disease problems or bad responses to drugs or other kinds of treatments. Tremendous, tremendous need for all of the healthcare informatics. And then there's the entirely kind of philosophical, scientific issue, which is that information is encoded in the genome. And we're finally learning how it is that life's information is really coded and how to manipulate it. So an entirely different flavor of what informatics means right there, which is biology is the information and the coding process as opposed to just computers.
The EMBS Biorobotics Technical Committee works within the administrative framework of the EMBS to promote the welfare and technical enhancement of biorobotics.
There's nanorobotics that draw from many chemical engineering principles. There's micro-robots that are using mechatronic designs and polymer designs that are very innovative and exciting. And then there's the macro-level robotics that are being used to interface with people. So you can shake hands with a robot now because new robots have come out. And those robots can help train you to be better at maybe operating a crane or flying an airplane. Or they might help you recover from a disease like stroke, where you've lost your ability to move, and you can train and do repetitive practice with a robot that may do interesting things while you're practicing with it. I do believe that in our lifetime, for sure, there's going to be a lot of nanorobotic technology that actually becomes part of treatment. So we have very, very small molecular-sized robotic devices that are actually being used to pass through your body and do things, do work, get them to move from one part of your body to another using all kinds of interesting new technology for motility.
Medical imaging has been around since X-rays, and more recently, we've seen the emergence of CAT scans and MRIs. But work continues to improve methods of capturing, processing, and interpreting images.
Modern medical imaging now includes all the way down to molecular level type of image analysis, including microscopy, looking at cells, the interior of a cell, the organelles, the protein structures as they're distributed in 3D within a cell, all the way up to tissue, looking at how tissues react and correspond to environments, being able to measure quantitatively how tissues change as a function of outside forces, whether it be mechanical or chemical. The modern applications of traditional medical imaging now include what's called functional imaging, which is looking at three-dimensional objects, whether it be the brain or the heart or the liver, but recording these organs as they change as a function of time relative to some sort of a biomarker, for example. And so we've evolved from looking at static X-rays, one shot, instantaneous picture, to measuring the dynamics of an organ or a whole body, for this example. And these recordings, these four-dimensional types of capture of information can happen everywhere from the molecular level all the way to the cell. The field itself is still focused on measuring quantitatively phenomena on events that are of importance to science and to diagnostic imaging, to diagnose disease, or whether to figure out metabolic pathways that may be of interest for solving cancer or supporting specific systems biology models. We're trying to figure out how cells interact.
As the field continues to evolve, we can expect EMBS to be on the forefront of fostering and championing groundbreaking discoveries, as well as improvements of current technology applications.